Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge it, knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder, it's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Y'all heard the man they call Biz, ladies and gentlemen, setting sail. We just did a topsy-turvy. It was really cool. Acrobatics, setting sail from the decks of the USS Rapapa is Topic Thunder. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the Internet Saloon where that's Ben and I'm Brooks. We still have never come up with anything even close to trademarkable as far as what we call ourselves as infotenders, discussion.
Infotenders. I kind of like that one.
Infotenders?
Yeah.
All right.
News tenders.
We're slinging topics at you. Thus the name Topic Thunder, and thus the name of the world's most dangerous chat zone. It's called the Thunderdome, ladies and gentlemen. It's right there, and we've already got we got a VIP, a very important parent in the room. We got Aunt Chris showing in, and Mr. Ryan Hansen is along for the ride already. And folks, here's a tease. There's two teases. I have a big reveal and a major announcement.
Whoa. Both on the same show.
The same show, and I'm gonna bracket this. Yeah, there's another VIP, Dad F and Brooks in the house right now. I'm gonna buttress the show, or at least the main top with these announcements. And the first thing,
so
big reveal right now. You ready? Are you ready? I'm wearing slippers.
All right, fair enough.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, with a dead, okay. Oh, see, we're doing that now. Okay, hey, put up your footwear, everybody. Yeah. I got a pair.
Ooh, those look comfy. Yeah, dude, those look comfy.
I discovered something. We were talking about in the pre-show meeting, ladies and gentlemen. Ben and I were discussing. Yeah, no way, I'm wearing slippers right now. It is a big deal.
The announcement later is much better than that. I will tell you that. I'm in on that, and it is much better. The major announcement is much
double prong kind of dad joke, and holy smokes, Lisa! Wow, Lisa, this is a super blast from my past. Lisa, welcome aboard. You just kind of hit me with a wave of nostalgia. I was actually at Lisa. It's a fantastic stuff. If you were to put this on my timeline, this is in the Cajun Gary era, and that's all I'm going to say about that. So welcome, Lisa. Topic Thunder, the world's most dangerous chat zone, the Thunderdome. You're in it right now.
Yeah,
and with no further ado, we don't do anything here without at least having a little bit of sip of something. And I've been on the red wine kick lately, the weather, all that kind of fun stuff. So this is just another one of those, like, hey, that's at Costco right now. How much? $14.99 for a bottle that gets the blah 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 ratings, which I don't understand. I'm a beer and whiskey guy, but red wine is going right now, and this is the Bogle, whatever. It's good. It's a good wine. And I don't know what the flavors of cranberries, raspberries, leading up to notes of red fruits and Marion berry pie and baking spices. Man, I'm going to tell you, that's over my head with wine.
It doesn't taste good or not is ultimately the question.
What works for me is you got to break it down to like what does the back of the action figure look like? And if you scroll down, Ben, you'll get exactly what I need to see. This is an old Vines Inn, and here you go, fruit low. Oh, okay, all right. Give me the stats. Okay, it is definitely full bodied. It is actually kind of sweet. It's not that super like your mouth is like all puckered up after you had a sip of the red wine kind of deal.
Yeah, I don't like that. So I like sweet over dry for sure.
Yeah, definitely on the sweet side. Full. It does have there's a lot of flavor with the body. And if this is the difference between having fruit and oak, oak probably leading to maybe a little more dryness, and I don't know if there's a relationship there. I don't get into the tabloids, but that might have some reciprocity there. Also to note, alcohol and Angelo's in the house too. Thank you, sir. 14.5% on the beverage scale. So that with all truth be told, I usually have a nip of something right before the show as a kind of a pre-show go get 'em buster.
Go get him, Tiger. Yeah.
It was 1.5 nips today.
Yeah, get the juices flowing. In about 40 minutes, check back with Brooks, and he'll be feeling just fine, just in time for the end of the headlines and right into the lightning round.
Well, let's not even all right, you teased it, so let's not even hesitate to get right to, ladies and gentlemen, the most clever segment name of all. We're still working on the trademark of it because we say nobody's done this before us. We were the first to do it. We call this segment Headlines. Welcome to it, and we're already at this.
This is a hell of a headline to start with, too.
Well, this is going to tie into a couple of things. It's actually a story that will involve something that you and I discussed to not discuss last week.
Yes, carryover from last week. Yeah,
a little bit of carryover that kind of just like when this is actually a piece of choreographed piece of multi-layered journalism by somebody. We'll have to thank the endless and tireless crew of Top.
Yeah, the people, the guys in the back, in the office, in the bullpen,
the guys and gals, the theys and thems as well, because we're completely cool like that and always have been, even before that was cool. But not to brag. No, folks, Damar Hamlin was not replaced by a body double. If you're not familiar with the story of Damar Hamlin, he was the Buffalo Bills NFL football player who was infamously delivered a direct blow to the chest during a play and suffered cardiac arrest shortly thereafter, like within a step and a half.
Yeah, he was up, collapsed. And it looked like he was talking shit. And then he just literally just collapsed backwards, like you would see almost in like a cartoon.
Now, this is not an unheard of source of cardiac arrest. There are many incidences where car accidents, most notably, would cause a blow to the chest that has led to some sort of cardiac arrhythmia, which would be an arrest, which is when the heartbeat gets way out of whack and things just
stop.
No, because it's different than a heart attack where things just kind of stop, right? A heart attack is the muscle kind of almost like dying. There's a lot of we're going to get into some medical terms here, but there's some like necrosis too, and there's a blockage.
Okay.
Blood flow stops. Cardiac arrest is everything is just way out of whack, and it has a lot to do with the rhythm of the heart. And it basically, and I'm not a cardiac specialist. This is my rudimentary understanding of watching codes over a dozen years in medicine and stuff like that. But the sudden blow can cause a massive trauma that can set off a difference in the rhythm of the heart, and it's exactly what happened here. To poor Damar Hamlin. We've all seen it. If you didn't see it, you at least saw a headline of it. This is not the story. The story is that this whole horrific situation that played out on national television has been hijacked by the idea that Mr. Hamlin, actually passed away and had been now replaced with a body double, or in some circles of the internet, a clone.
Oh my God.
So
this is where we're at now.
And when the BBC decides to wade into American conspiratorial nonsense like this,
yeah,
it's they're poking. They're going, haha, look at you. I mean, they got their own problems.
Idiots. Yeah.
But check this out. This is from the BBC. It's an escalation of rumors that circulated after Mr. Hamlin's injury. The latest allegations claim the player is dead and has been, quote, replaced. The anti-vaccination activists stoking the wild claims on Twitter have provided no proof. When did it start? On Sunday, Mr. Hamlin attended an NFL okay, we already talked about this. He suffered a major chest trauma. We don't have to go into it. We don't even have to go into the fact that he actually lost the game, and his first question once coming out of a coma was, "Did we win?"
Yeah. Who won the game?
Who won? And to his credit, the doctor that was there said, "You did."
Yeah, you won the game of life, sir.
You won the game of life. There is a really cool picture of Mr. Hamlin in his that looks like an ICU room from my experience. It actually looks like an emergency room from my experience. There he is giving now his now famously known I guess this is shortly after he woke up. Like they took the breathing tube out just shortly after, like just giving the clearly everybody knows that he's trying to do the heart. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. Right.
Right. Of course. Right. Wait. Someone is suggesting something other than that.
The same crowd that's going to tell you that they're doing this and it's just their circle game. When they're
right.
All right. The same crowd is now like, no, wait. That's the sign of the Freemasons.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Are they for real?
Are we here? Of course, this has nothing to do with the horrific injury suffered by Mr. Hamlin at all. Has nothing to do with his miraculous recovery thanks to modern medicine and the only because
quick attention of medical staff.
A highly paid athlete that he got that attention because somebody in the street doesn't have 20 people trained in CPR with AEDs rushing to him within like 20 yards, right? And the real Billy Whack is in the house. So thank you, sir. It's a real reunion here of some Okinaites. Yes, the people of the Mud Turtle. There are at least two of you.
The Mud Turtle.
There's at least two of you in the world's most dangerous chat room. We call it the Thunderdome. Trademark.
That is insane to me that anyone would suggest that is the like some sort of Illuminati hand gesture that he is doing there. It is so clearly obvious, and it is not the only completely ridiculous conspiracy theory going around regarding Damar Hamlin's incident.
Yeah, further on in the article, Mr. Hamlin's injury, which resulted in the unprecedented cancellation of an American football match between two top teams, was quickly seized upon by anti-vaccination activists to further their cause. Other influential accounts spreading the most recent rumors included a former reporter for fringe right-wing news outlets and Juanita Broderick, a woman who once accused Bill Clinton of rape and later became a supporter of Donald Trump, in a tweet viewed more than 2.7 million times.
God damn it.
Everyone thinks Damar Hamlin is dead. The whole thing smells. She did not respond to a request for comment, nor did Mr. Peters. Guess why? Because they're going to get you on record. Not some bullshit fucking tweet. Sorry, pardon my French. Conspiracy theory expert Mike Rothschild, author of the book of the QAnon phenomenon and some of those spreading the rumors of the financial motives, promote their websites, books, and podcasts and unproven cures. These people in the same this is a quote, I guess, from this Mike Rothschild, in the same anti-vaxxers and conspiracy influencers who have spent the last 3 years spreading conspiracy theories about the COVID-19 for money. These people sell basically a bunch of cures on their website while shunning accepted medicine. And in the fact here, they've completely thought now that the only reason that Damar Hamlin had that cardiac arrest was because he had the COVID-19 vaccine.
That's it. There's the big one. That is an ongoing theme. It has been kind of bubbling under the surface because it's been talked about with soccer players a lot, because there have been a number of incidents with soccer players having incidents on the field, and these weird anti-vax folks have been tracking this, and every time an athlete drops dead suddenly or has some sort of heart ailment, it is immediate that the comment section is filled with, oh, he got the jab, It's always the jab. You know they're an anti-vaxxer, and you know what their agenda is when they refer to it as the jab. And there is tons of people out there that are truly believing this. And it's these doctors that that this article is talking about who are doing it for money, that are convincing people like that. I know, like my buddy Ted believes Texas Ted
legend.
He believes that there are thousands of doctors that he trusts that are saying that the COVID vaccine is dangerous, shouldn't be given to people. He trusts those doctors because those doctors are telling him that the other doctors, the majority of doctors, they're under the influence of big pharma and they can't be trusted. You can trust me. By my cure, I don't have any agenda, wink, wink. By mine, because the other people, the Moderna, they have an agenda.
Which they do, but so does the person telling you that they don't have an agenda, right?
Exactly.
You're both being sold something, or one a little more clinically trialed and proven. Do we know the full effects of everything? No.
Right. And I'm leaving the door open. I'm gladly leaving the door open to this idea that if we find out evidence down the road that Pfizer and Moderna and all these companies were in on a scam on the American people to sell them give them a vaccine that is going to slowly eliminate them by myocarditis and heart conditions, that is going to then eliminate and thin the herd of the gullible people that get the jab.
Interesting.
I'm open to that if that's possible.
It's interesting you say that, and the next story we're going to get into, just because it brings up that very thing, is the myocarditis that allegedly all these people are dying from. So let's first define what myocarditis is. Myo is Latin for muscle.
Is that now, should I be bringing up the Twitter link or the AHA Journals link for this?
Let's go to the journal first, because there's a very good breakdown of this is a study that was published in the American Health Association Journal. It's a highly respected journal of medicine. I will preface this with, it's a lot of research mumbo jumbo, and it's not the full article. It is just summary, because they've gotten to the point where they're not funded enough. They have to.
And people's attention spans are not enough that no one's going to actually dig in and read all of the minutia. Give us the highlights. That's what we're looking for.
That, and they want you to pay for, if you want the stuff.
I don't blame them either.
One bit, but interesting. Before we get into the study, if you scroll back up really quick, they're going to show you, like right there, that chart on the right hand side, just a little bit further, the metrics. They're telling you basically where the story's been, how many times it's been tweeted, which I think is really
interesting.
Too.
Yeah,
right. That's kind of cool, right?
They're
tracking it. Yeah, 52 news outlets. I'm sure, like, probably had to pony up to get the rights to I don't know. We're not. Come get us.
Right.
What this study was looking into is, well, first of all, it's a super small sample size. It is 16 patients who are hospitalized at Massachusetts General for Children or Boston's Children's Hospital for myocarditis, presenting with chest pain with elevated cardiac troponin T. So after the jab, okay. Mm-hmm. A couple of things there. Let's go back to myocarditis. Myo meaning muscle, cardi meaning heart, itis meaning inflammation. So it is the inflammation of the heart is just one big muscle with a lot of ligaments and very little fat. So the whole thing is inflamed when you have myocarditis, right? That presents problems. And inflammation anywhere, right? Especially with the engine, right? That's the one spot.
If there's one thing that you don't want to have any issues with, it would be your heart. If you could just pick one. that you'd probably start there.
The hip, okay. If it's at the heart, sure, right?
Whatever. Take
Elbow,
a liver. I don't give a shit.
Right.
Yeah,
I not the liver. Well, I take half the liver.
you know what I'm saying?
Not half the liver, because the rest
Have
of
it. Take half of it. Whatever.
because it will grow back, actually, as long as
Uh-huh,
you're not tipping one back.
Yeah.
You can have a kidney, but yeah, not the heart, right? Wait,
Mhm.
my foot. There's some cool things going on with
Right.
robotic.
I could do without it if I
not
had
the
to.
heart,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So you don't want myocarditis, and what they meant by elevated cardiac troponin T, again, just by virtue of being privileged to be in ER rooms when people are having a heart attack. Troponin is I don't remember if it's an enzyme or like a protein that the muscles give off when like they contract, right? And that's something they can, in a blood draw, tell right away. There are actually two huge components to someone presenting in an ER with a heart attack. One is that blood draw for that particular level, and two is actually a chest X-ray, because you can see how big the heart has gotten. Right, through a chest. There's what's called a cardiac shadow and a chest X-ray. They can go, whoa, because the typical size of your heart on a chest X-ray, when done properly, is about the third of your entire lung space.
Okay.
And they've got all kinds of tools and in the software that they can make those measurements, and a really good radiologist and a really good ER emergency doctor will just be able to look at the image, because most ER portable X-ray equipment have like the image right there, the computer right there, right? They'll know right away, and then they can make assessment like, this person's got to get that cath lab, let's get them up there, blah blah blah. Right. Hugely important, different than a stroke, where like a CT is more important, because that could show like the blockage of blood somewhere in a stroke. But this troponin has been up in these patients, again, 16 of them. However, so they've done these studies, and they matched these comparisons, and let's just get to the conclusion, because it's very interesting. The immunoprofiling of vaccinated adolescents and young adults revealed that the mRNA vaccine induced immune responses did not differ between individuals who developed myocarditis and individuals who did not. However, free spike antigen was detected in the blood of adolescents and young adults who developed post-mRNA vaccine myocarditis, advancing insight into its potential underlying cause. Let's repeat that last half sentence.
Yeah, because that's there's a lot of big words going on there.
That I'll break that down. I really want to highlight everything after the comma. Advancing insight into its potential underlying cause. Let's break down what they're talking about, because I did a little research before the show, and I want to thank someone who's not on in the chat zone right now, but is somebody that catches up with us later on YouTube. Mr. Tony Bones actually sent me this link, and he was asking questions like, "What does this mean? What is And I had to read it and do some further research. But here's what it means: this spike protein that they're mentioning. And we've talked about this on the show. What the coronavirus is the actual like the little bugger, right? Has these they almost look like flat trees that come out of them that they call spikes. Those are the things that latch on to a cell and then fuse to that cell and then start to make their way into the cell. So that's why they call it a spike. What the study is saying is that the vaccine generated the proper immune response. What they're seeing is not the virus molecule or the entity itself. They're seeing the spikes floating around. Now, if you have these things that are just kind of floating around that are not being taken care, in my opinion, not being taken care of by your immune system, and these things have a tendency to already know to gravitate towards the heart for whatever reason, I could see this being what about this particular patient. Again, only 16 in the study. So we're not
Right.
talking about a huge, that we have to be careful when we say things like this study says. 16 people. That is a super small sample size. To really make conclusions, you need thousands.
Right.
The lesser the number, the more you're kind of extrapolating and kind of going, well, these are the trends.
Guessing them almost a little bit.
Once you start getting more and more data, then you're going, well, okay, we're not guessing anymore. These are the trends. It has to do with they had influenza at the same time. They're at a genetic predisposition. They had some undiagnosed immunocompromised disease, whatever. Like I get 16 people. So let's admit that there's something going on that has more to do with basically the remnants of the destroyed coronavirus cell.
To me, it's a kind of a just as I'm absorbing all this, it's almost a what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing, right? Did the virus cause these? Did they break off on their own, or did the vaccine cause these breakoffs? And now they're just floating around. Like, that's interesting.
I'm not saying they attach to the heart, but I would. This is not my wheelhouse. Nothing is my wheelhouse. Bringing interesting conversation is my wheelhouse, right? Something beyond just the flashy headlines. Like, there's more to this. Like, we can't just be like, oh, this is 16 people. What about this select little group? Don't we know? Like, how many times did they have coronavirus before they got a vaccine? Like, what kind of stuff was already in their blood? If you're only testing 16 people at a certain point in time and they're adolescents and you haven't been testing them for years,
how good could that data really be? Yeah.
Where's the baseline? If we just started testing whatever they did, again, this is scientific. This is the scientific theory. These are the questions that have to be asked in these situations.
I pride myself on keeping an open mind and not completely dismissing, but there is something here, and there whether the vaccine is to blame or the virus itself is to blame, it certainly seems like it's worth looking into and spending time, resources, money into finding out what the real deal is. I guess I can't totally discount the idea that the vaccine on some level could be harmful.
Absolutely. And I'm not even saying
we did rush it. Remember, we go back in the timeline. There were safety guards that were put up when it came to vaccines on how much testing had to be done before it was released to the general public. We all pushed, or not we all, but a large amount of people pushed for cut the red tape, get it out as soon as possible.
Maybe I was selfish, but
maybe
look,
keeping an open mind to the idea that it could be right.
Absolutely.
Leaning on the side that probably not. I mean, we know enough about vaccines and their effectiveness and the level of harm. There is always going to be harm on some level because we are humans and each of our bodies are different and they react to things differently, and you are unpredictable in their reactions. So yes, any vaccine is likely to have some level of harm to a segment of the human populace. But you have to outweigh that. You have to look at it and say you can either focus on the small number of people that are affected negatively, and you could do that empathetically and say, listen, it's terrible that they had these adverse reactions or even death as a result of the vaccine. It's awful that it happened to them. However, there are billions of people at this point that have been vaccinated, been boosted, and had no adverse effects. So if we're looking at pools of people,
Right.
the pool of people that have had no negative reactions and have been and have had their immune systems enhanced and helped to fight off from the vaccine far, far, far outweighs the number of unfortunate people that are going to have negative effects from it.
I mean, nothing you inject into your body is a 100% guarantee, right? But
ibuprofen kills people, but people take it all the time. You know what I mean? Like there are things that, you know what I mean?
I don't want to hear it from the same people who go to a tanning booth.
Right.
What do you?
Right.
Okay, but don't put that stuff at me. But I'll sit in front of this radiation and just hello melanoma.
Or they vape.
Oh yeah, it's not smoking, dude.
You have no idea what the long-term effects of that. None of us do. None of us have.
You tell me exactly what chemical is in that, and by the way, what that chemical does to you on a long-term basis. Maybe not just your lungs, but it gets into your blood, it hits your liver, your kidneys.
I ain't getting the
pancreas. Right, but I'm not smoking.
Fuck your jab.
Right, but don't be a pansy and like sit there and tell me you're cool, and I just sit there and smell like raspberry cherry coming out of your vape machine. It's not as cool as you think it is. Right. Just a personal opinion. But okay, Ben, we were talking about all of these athletes, right? You mentioned the soccer players, right?
Yes.
That are all these athletes that are dying of cardiac arrest on the field because they got the jab. So I want to preface this by I don't know the man. He has been retweeted several times by people that I have come to trust on to Twitter. So I'm putting my reputation, I guess, here as a investigative journalist, broadcast journalist, just like a ode to Bobby Heenan. But Eric Burnett is an internal medicine doctor. And has a very interesting take about the data and has gone through the data presented. So first, he retweets on this Liz Wheeler tweet. Not going to go too much into Liz Wheeler, but she's everything that this show is basically against.
And look at she's a pretty blonde woman. That's so unsurprising.
Oh, don't even, please. 1 in 5,000 young men, I mean, you can see it, have heart issues from the COVID vax. Really?
Where's that coming from?
That's a lot of dead men. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's like, we don't have.
Well, so they're not saying dead. They're just saying heart issues.
Heart issues. Okay. I'm sorry. Fine.
So being fair and balanced.
Yearly comatose cordis. I think that is, I'm not sure what that means. Comatoria would probably
Comosha maybe.
It's court is, I don't know what to look it up. Anyway, just we could hear right there. Here's the one that gets me. almost 1,600 athletic cardiac arrests since January of 2021. 69% fatal. Wait a minute. Where? But science ignores all this. Okay. And she asked the question, and she's citing a New York Times article. So here comes Dr. Burnett. This gets a little long, but there's a reward at the end, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to skip through the whole thread, but we're just going to go with the first tweet right here. So whenever you see an incredible statistic like this, you should ask yourself, where did it come from? In this case, it came from a letter to the editor in the Scandinavian Journal of Immunology, co-authored by another doctor online. And then he posts the link like you're supposed to when you're critically doing something, right? Here's where here it is. Here's the proof. Now, I think that we can all agree that if you're going to make apples to apples comparisons between sudden cardiac deaths in athletes from two time periods, the population should be similar. So how did this at P_McCullough MD make this comparison? And Dr. Burnett highlighted. From January 2021 to the time of writing, 1,598 athletes suffered cardiac arrest, 1,101 of which with deadly outcome. Notably, in a 38-year time span from 1966 to 2004, 1,101 athletes under the age of 35 died due to various heart-related conditions, 50% of whom had congenital anatomical heart disease and cardiomyopathies.
Cardiomyopathies, right?
Thank you. Myopathies. Thank you. And 10% had atherosclerotic heart disease, which is the hardening of the arteries with early onset. What? So this dude is already saying, oh yeah, all of these people died, but in a 38-year time span. Oh, so we're not just talking people who got the jab in 2021? Already, this is where this weird doctor who's going, all these people died. This is where these people are referencing this stuff from, right? This doctor, he calculated the base rate of sudden cardiac death in athletes using a systemic analysis using sudden SCD in athletes over the last 38 years and found that the 1,101 deaths in athletes were over this 38-year time period. The sensationalism of that number without going, oh yeah, 1,100 of these athletes died of the almost 1,600 had this cardiac event. 1,100 died. 38 years.
Yeah. And they're comparing that. Well, hold on. I guess I'm not wrapping my head around this completely. So
let's scroll back up then to the tweet.
Yeah. Please help me out, because it may be because I'm
so this is where these anti-vax people are slicing this up and presenting partial information as a whole.
So the original tweet says 1,598 cardiac arrests since January 2021.
Right. Hey, Ben, do you want to know what 69% of 1,598 athletes is?
Yes, please.
111. I'm sorry, it's actually 102.62. So we can fudge the numbers.
69% of 1,500 people.
Fatal. They're dead. So again, 1,598 athlete cardiac arrests since January 2021. 69% fatal. Okay, let's remember that 69% of that number, or that 1,598,
right
where the highlighted text is, from January 21 to the time of writing, 1,598 athletes have suffered cardiac arrest, 1,101 of which were with deadly outcome. Notably, in a 38-year time span, 1,101 athletes under the age of 35 died due to various heart-related conditions.
So they just copied the same number from a 38-year time span and attributed it to from January 21st to the time of writing.
They're trying to tell you that this was because this 1,100 athletes that died were because of the COVID vaccine. But the 1,100 athletes that died was over a 38-year time span. Have nothing to do with COVID.
Yeah, like, wait a minute. And they say
from
it right there.
1966 to 2004. Let's keep going, because Dr. Burnett, this goes places, folks. And thank you, Lisa. Those are very nice comments.
Yes,
this
please.
goes places. This goes.
Tell your
places.
friends.
Tell your friends too. We're gonna hold on. I'm gonna keep scrolling down. So there's another highlighted section. So he's criticizing this particular doctor who's making these absurd claims, right? That is way pre-COVID, is way pre-SARS as far as we know, as an airborne disease, especially the way it could affect any kind of cardiac or any internal organ, because we always assume the SARS thing with being a respiratory illness. So Dr. Burnett challenging Dr. McCullough. he's going to make a direct comparison to the study population. He's going to stick to the strict definitions outlined above, which is a peer-reviewed source or an official sudden cardiac disease registry. Did he use this for his comparison? No. He used a website called goodsciencing.com/athletes-suffer-cardiac arrest-die-after COVID shot. So this doctor used this really fucked up idea and data point to make a comparison of actual cardiac events of athletes, but over a 38-year time span.
And then tried to say that happened since January 21 on.
And all because of COVID, right? Well, Dr. Burnett was not done. Dr. Burnett went through.
I like this Dr. Barnett guy. I wish we could get him on the show.
I did too. That's why we're doing this, because he's not done here. He looked through this shit and he found some of the examples of this sudden cardiac disease or death. A 21-year-old sprinter who died of suicide. A 24-year-old cyclist who died from suicide. A 49-year-old former shot put champion who died in a car accident.
These are all included in that 1,101?
In the study. A 17-year-old high school basketball player who drowned in a hot tub. A 24-year-old footballer who got myocarditis after COVID and didn't die.
They counted him among the dead?
They counted him among the dead. 26-year-old footballer who died from leukemia.
From COVID, clearly.
A 16-year-old hockey player who had myocarditis following COVID. He didn't die. His vaccination status is unknown. 69-year-old man who had keen runner fell off a cliff. So we can clearly say, and everybody's welcome to, you see this gentleman is at Dr._Eric_B on Twitter. Please, I always like to put my sources out there and get your engagement on that, because I've read it several times. Actually, I would never bring it to the show unless I thought like it was worth talking about. So we have to be very careful with so-called experts, and especially these one tweeters who are like, yeah, you're that Liz Wheeler, that first tweet that we talked about didn't have an MD in her Twitter handle. At least these two do, right? So let's let the doctors battle it out. But come on, this is the source. This is the level of disinformation, right? This is what the truth. Again, we're free to admit, and Ben and I are both, and I'm sure a lot of people agree was it rushed? Operation Lightspeed? Yes, absolutely. Did it help a lot of people in a very scary time when we didn't have another option and we're scratching for treatments and being told ivermectin and bleach and light and ultraviolet light down your throat?
Meanwhile, ICUs are overrun by people on ventilators.
At personal experience, and I'm not, I don't want to, make this like a big but as an X-ray tech, I within the same week, where I work, we rotate people through the entire hospital. So what I saw a gentleman come in to the emergency room, who couldn't breathe, was having chest pain, and we did a chest X-ray, and he could barely stand. We had to do it in a wheelchair. It was all kind of fun, right? 2 hours later, we're getting a call. Hey, we need a chest X-ray on this patient because we just intubated him. Oh, in the ED? Okay, cool. And then later on in that week, went up to the ICU, and there's my friend hooked up to everything under God's sun, and nurses in full, like you can't even see their face, just and then the next week you go up there and you walk past a room where you expect to see your friend, and It's not your friend.
Not there anymore. Yeah.
He's not there anymore.
Mhm.
That was my personal experience from it. Certainly not trying to take any valor from the nurses who had to hold the iPad where they could, that's a whole nother level. And I tip my hat to any nurse, doctor, or any other provider or healthcare worker that had to sit there and do that. I just sticking up for my people. While a lot of that is very intense for the one or two, maybe sometimes unfortunately three patients that team had, that one x-ray tech saw 30 of 35 of those patients, and each one took a toll. So while there's the blunt up front, there's also the long. So I'm just sticking up for my x-ray people.
Sure.
But that goes for ultrasound too, because they had to go into rooms and they got to know people that weren't there anymore. Anyway,
Sucks. To put a little bit of a bow on this, just sitting here thinking, like, how did we get to a place where so many people are so distrustful of science and the medical community? Like, there are so many people, like my buddy Ted, who truly believes that the big pharma, and I understand, I get it, man. They're big pharma is a thing, and they are an evil entity. I'm not discounting that, but we have such a distrust of the pharmaceutical industry and the medical industry that otherwise intelligent people that should know better and should understand, like, again, you're talking about a large group of people that have been unaffected and a small group of people that have been affected. To focus on the small group is the wrong way to look at it.
right. The good of the many outweighs the good of the few or the one.
Right. But we have such a distrust, and how sad it is that we're at a place where so many people have this distrust of medicine and of science, and are willing to believe fringe science because it confirms that bias for them.
How they feel. Let's be clear about the bias. It's how they feel things should be, or how science is conducted. And it's okay to have an opinion, but look, if you're going to try to argue with somebody who's got 30 years in a very specific field like virology,
right?
Like that person has been academic, or at least has a lifetime dedicated to that. They're not doing that for the money. Sure, I agree with you, man. There are huge problems with not only the medical field, pharmaceutical, medical equipment, you name it, right? Absolutely. There's price gouging, and the insurance companies are involved in this too, because they're looking to get their take. And that's how, equipment manufacturers, oh yeah, and fuck you, Moderna, for taking $2.5 billion of taxpayer money, while then offering the what we paid for vaccine for a mere $21, and now you just raised it to $120. See, now that is a fucking problem, right? And that's why people start to distrust that industry and that cornerstone of medicine. If only there was some sort of entity that could come in and say, hey, fuck you. We're revoking your charter, your license, your ability to do business, I don't know, in this country. And we're just going to just take your stuff. And since we have already paid for it, we're just going to make sure it remains cheap and easy for the people that actually paid for it to receive it. And folks, that's called socialism. Imagine that. Imagine the government being able to come in, because there is no other entity as angry as Texas Ted can be about this whole situation. He'll agree that big pharma is the problem, right? He'll agree that big profits are the problem, right? He'll agree that big medicine and volume-based medicine is a big problem, right? Well, give me a solution.
Right.
Give me a solution other than your grief and your bitching, because I'm tired of it. We're tired of it, right?
Great point.
Give me a solution. And the solution is have the government step in with regulations that say, if we give you money, that's ours, or at least we share it. And we'll figure out a way to make it profitable for you. But if we're already giving you the most expensive part of developing a new drug, and that's R&D, then it's, hey, buddy, I don't know. Like, that's the mob, right?
Yeah. The
That's what
problem
mob
is that the majority of people that don't trust big pharma, they don't trust the government either, right? And so then
where
when
do you go
have
now?
where do you go next?
Now?
Who do you? But you're right though, and that is a great point that I have missed in these discussions that I've had with people like my buddy Texas Ted. Is okay, we'll agree the government can't be trusted. We'll agree big pharma can't be trusted. What are we gonna do?
Essential oils,
Right? Or do we? How do we solve this problem? Do we have
burn it all down? Wait, so we don't have anything?
Right. Or do we create? Do we somehow create an entity that can be trusted, that has safeguards to keep them from being influenced by money that we could trust? I don't know, but the Food and Drug Administration
they won't trust that anyway.
They won't trust that either, right? Because they'll be they're it's
That's
always a game of you just don't. How do you live a life where you don't trust anything?
Anything. Other than
like I get it, but I trust. Here's the thing: I trust the government more than I trust the pharmaceutical industry.
Only because
if I have to choose one or the other,
yes, because I know there are good people in government, and I know the thing about government is we, as a voting populace, put them there.
Control it. If we want to exert that control, we the people do ultimately control who are running the government.
Right. But Ron DeSantis is governor of Florida. Like Sarah Huckabee is governor of Arkansas. Ted Cruz can't Ted Cruz could just about, he couldn't pull a Trump and shoot somebody on Fifth Avenue,
right.
But he could basically slap your mother and get away for it and get reelected. Lord Boebert got reelected. Right.
Twice.
So
reelected.
Once we realize Lindsey Graham has held on to saying he's the slimiest of slimy people, and that's saying something.
Mitch McConnell's been around how long? Nancy Pelosi's been around how long?
They just can't stop shooting themselves in the foot. Right. They keep electing these career politicians at the same time, keep bitching about career politicians. So let's vote people in. There are 4 term limits. Did you see what Jacinda Ardern did in New Zealand? She peaced out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. I didn't know who that was. But yes, the Prime Minister of New Zealand was just like, I've had enough.
She literally said, it's a lot, folks.
Right.
It's a lot to that's New Zealand, right?
She became a mom while in office. Like, she's got other shit to worry about now.
She literally kind of said that. She's like, this is a lot. It changes you. And before it basically said, before it changes you too much, you should get out. You should know your limits. You should know when it's no longer like, oh, I can't make a good decision for the people that elected me. She literally stepped down and said, I'm done. Cool. I wish more would admit that. And I wish more people would spend time looking at the people that they vote for. And I wish more people would vote.
We've spent an amazing amount of time on one topic today. So
that we haven't even gotten past the first. Oh shit.
I know, right? And we're 53 minutes in. So we're gonna have to do some editing on the fly, I think. Right.
Ooh, well, okay. So let's,
but really we can't, because these are all such good stories. We may just have to go a little bit more quickly. Okay, we may have to edit ourselves and our comments.
All right. Are you ready for the flashcards?
The hyper round?
All right, everybody get ready to throw it into light speed. Hey, the people should probably start paying attention, Ben, to science and scientists, because the Earth's core is stopped and may be reversing direction, study says. Now, we normally will always preface any Vice story by saying we abhor the create. Oh no, you wish this was the Ellie.
Son of a bitch.
No, it's close, man. Holy smokes.
But yes, Vice, not such a great place,
but it led me to, they provided the link, which was done by and published in a study in nature.com, which again, is a scientific journal that's well respected. So they're basically kind of prefacing and giving us a synopsis of this, right? Let me give you a synopsis of this. The Earth's core is about the solid part of Earth's core is about 75% the size of the moon. It sits in an aqueous bubble that is molten magma, right? Magma. And it's because it's a ball and because Earth is just a giant rock with water and weird things on it spinning in space, sometimes this ball moves around in there and causes all kinds of fun stuff. And sometimes the liquid hot magma that is the liqueous surrounding for this ball of iron starts to kind of cool a little bit and starts to solidify. So the ball stops rotating. And every once in a while, because this thing's iron, and while we don't know, because we don't really have much of a record of the people on Earth monitoring, and it's probably the hardest thing. We know more about things in space, in outer space, than we know about the core of the Earth because it's so hard to friggin' study, right?
Sure.
It literally it's 3,000 miles to the core of the Earth, and it's not like you can drill down there.
Right, you can't even dig. Like
no,
you would never.
You would die once it penetrated that bubble of liquid hot magma. It would. I mean, okay,
game over forever.
Well, that's when Cthulhu kind of creeps out and Godzilla then shows up.
Do we really want to figure out what's there? Yeah, no, we don't.
Sometimes questions are bad.
Yes, this is one of those times.
This is one of those times. But so we'll actually no. What does that mean, Brooks? What are you talking about? The Earth's core has stopped rotating and might reverse. Well, we know that the magnetic field around the planet reverses all the time. It's almost there's a schedule almost when it does. We don't exactly know why, but something I remember in school told me that iron is magnetic.
Yeah.
And that would make sense that if something, the magnetic stopped spinning and started spinning in a different direction, then the magnetic field would flip. Not a scientist.
That sounds bad.
Just an X-ray tech by trade.
That sounds bad.
So,
what you're describing
there's a lot of climate. So they apparently this has been going on for the better part of a decade now, and the Earth's core kind of reached its spinning peak about 2009. That might coincide with any kind of climate change or rapid changes in the planet, or a bunch of whales and dolphins beaching themselves, giant squids all of a sudden in the last 10 years just floating up the shore dead. That there's nothing crazy going on the planet with birds and bees and all plants and human beings.
Human beings. Yeah. No, you couldn't trace it to around that same time, could you?
There's nothing crazy going on with ice shelves in Antarctica, right? Oh,
God,
wait, we're wrong.
Oh,
we're wrong.
Shit.
Somebody told me about this. Why didn't somebody tell me?
Oh, shit! The ice shelves are melting.
Oh, they're not just melting, Ben. An ice shelf 5 times the size of the nation island of Malta just cracked off from the Brunt ice shelf in Antarctica. I hear it's lovely this time of year.
Hold on.
The new berg. Nope.
Son of a fucking.
We gotta step on it here. But the new iceberg, literally almost 1,550 square kilometers, and it's around 150 meters thick. We could do those translations later. You can do those at home. Your homework. We should know the metric system anyway. We're lesser for it. But folks, when you just hear something 5 times the size of a recognized sovereign island state just cracking off into the ocean, let's just be very gentle and understanding of the climate change thing that's going on. And while we might not be 100% responsible for everything going on, because planet certainly goes through changes. We know that. Pouring gasoline on those changes or doing nothing to protect ourselves in this instance from those changes.
Not the greatest way.
Probably not the greatest way. But let's kind of skip the next 2 stories. We can skip that, but they're super important.
Yes, we'll get back to that guy though. That is a good story because I want to bring up, but that's another long discussion. I think that's a rabbit hole we fall down to that we don't have time.
Yes, it is. But the next one, let's give a little love and shout out to my new favorite video to watch. Let's see what sort of nonsense Tucker Carlson is spouting out today.
Oh God, this guy.
When not outright spouting out Russian propaganda points, he's saying stuff like this.
Why do they hate tobacco? And it's not because it causes cancer. They don't care about your health. They closed the gyms during COVID. Anyone who closed a gym during a pandemic that killed people who were fat clearly doesn't care about your health at all. What? They hate nicotine. They love THC. They're promoting weed to your children, but they're not letting you use tobacco or even non-tobacco nicotine delivery devices, which don't cause cancer. Why do they hate nicotine? Because nicotine frees your mind and THC makes you compliant and passive. That's why they hate it. It's a real threat to them. Why do they hate tobacco?
What? What? What the fuck is he talking about?
To the other side.
I'm telling you, this guy is. I mean, we already established this because we read the stories before. This guy is a complete act. This whole thing is like, and I know that it's Chicago sports radio. It's a Chicago sports radio reference that like very few people will get, but Brooks will. This guy is doing Mike North. He's doing a political Mike North impersonation. He's saying crazy shit so that we'll go, look at this crazy guy saying crazy shit. And he thinks that that's good attention.
Because it's the modern day Stephen A. Smith.
Yes.
Just somebody out there saying something that they know is inflammatory because it's just troll. It's just a high level
trolling. And I'm the fucking king of that shit. So we could smell our own. Tucker Carlson is a troll.
But why do they hate tobacco, Ben? Why? Why do they hate tobacco?
Makes you complicit.
Well, first of all, I dare anybody who goes to a wherever you buy your cigarettes, a gas station, liquor store, whatever, tobacco store. If you're buying prepackaged cigarettes, I dare you to smoke a real tobacco cigarette. Go in there and go, can somebody roll me a real cigarette with real tobacco? I dare you.
Yeah.
Because after 1-2 puffs, if you're not green in the face or having some sort of life experience,
one of my friends growing up, my best friends growing up, he rolled his own cigarettes when we were in high school.
That's a man.
And he did it for as long as, I mean, I probably still does it to this day. He smokes, he rolls his own cigarettes.
Even the person smoking Camel non-filters, I dare you.
Adrian, that was her punishment for smoking when she was a kid. She had to smoke unfiltered cigarettes.
Even the unfiltered Marlboro Red doesn't stand up to a filtered real tobacco cigarette, let alone taking the filter off and just John Waiting the goddamn thing, right?
We're not helping Billy Whack try to quit.
No,
by diving into this.
Our good friend Supreme had to eat a cigarette to be over. That was, and he'll swear that it took him literally chewing and eating a cigarette with a filter. I don't know if I don't know if he ripped the filter off or not. That would be horrible.
Yeah,
it's one thing to eat all that, but but that's what it took. So maybe just, I don't know, but I don't want to point you into a new vice. And now you're going to tobacco stores looking for the raspberry flavored tobacco or the black cherry,
putting dippers and shit.
Oh, dip. Terrible. Oh, not even. Let's remind everybody really quick here that we have a major announcement coming up.
Yes. Don't go away.
Really quick. Don't go away. We're not done yet. We're not done yet. If you're just new to the show, just hang on. Because we talk about this shit all the time. And Ben, we have no idea how long human beings have been on this planet.
But we're starting to find out. We're starting to find out, though. And we're starting to find out it's been a really long fucking time.
A really long time. And they've just found something actually extraordinary. We talk about extraordinary things all the time. Folks, this is insanely extraordinary because 1.2 million years ago, they were working with obsidian. Obsidian is one of the craziest substances on the earth. It is also another shout out to magma, but it's basically molten magma glass, right? It's also one of the sharpest things that you could have. There's a movement now. They're now making scalpels made of obsidian just because of how sharp they are. It's insane to work with because of how sharp it is that even edges you're just gonna rip up your fingers and everything. They found a hand axe factory. I repeat, a hand axe factory that existed 1.2 million years ago. And our prior understanding of the first use of working obsidian wasn't until the Middle Ages.
And it's not like they just found an axe.
Oh no.
1.2. No, they found an axe factory.
So
that is 1.2 million years old.
And it's not like they said,
don't tell me there wasn't a civilization on this planet millions of years ago. Don't tell me.
And it's not like they said, oh, we've got to move the timeline back 1,000 years, 10,000 years. No, we've got to move the timeline back 1.2 million years ago.
Again, people sometimes can't wrap numbers around their head. A million is a lot. A million years is an incredibly long time. Like you almost can't wrap your head around how long a million years.
This is before Neanderthals. This is before the Denisovian people that we talked about, because those people only go back hundreds of thousands of years. And those were new species that that were immigrating and coming in and new species of human beings. Here we have a hand axe factory, and they actually have a startling number. They found a cache of 578 stone tools. All of those tools, save for 3, were sculpted from obsidian. They show through statistical analysis that this was a focused activity, that a very standardized hand axe was produced, and this was the stone tool workshop. They found over hundreds of examples that it wasn't just a one-off. There was a design involved in this. We make it look like this.
Right. That's a factory. Right.
It's a factory. 575 pieces of worked obsidian that were tools.
Yeah.
Not just like it broke off and we use it. No, like
it was made into something
shaped.
Yeah,
purposely.
Shaped. Yeah. Telling you, man, there's more and more evidence that shows that there was a civilization, a highly advanced civilization. And we've talked about this before. Our civilization, which we consider ourselves to be pretty highly advanced at this point, right? Like we're talking to each other from 2 different states via computer and broadcasting it to, hundreds of people and
thousands of people.
Right. Whatever,
thousands.
Sure.
Millions.
But we're a fairly highly advanced society. If something catastrophic were to happen today, there would be almost no evidence of our existence within a few thousand years. Now, 1,000,000 years is an incredibly long time. There could be a society that was every bit, if not more advanced than us right now, that existed 1,000,000 years ago, that we would have very little to no evidence that they existed.
We might not recognize them as human, like what Homo sapiens,
right.
What we think right now, right? Because genealogically, genetically, it's proven that they were probably more what we would crudely say, I guess, is ape-like. Right.
Yeah.
Their foreheads would be different. Their postures would be different. Hips, where the big bones, how big they. But yes, absolutely 1,000% with Ben on this one.
Graham Hancock. We're all with Graham Hancock.
And it's just the idea that we know what happened. Like
Dinosaurs might have had cars and clothes.
Look,
we cannot discount that.
Cannot disconfirm nor confirm.
It might be like that. Remember that like Muppet-like show Dinosaurs on ABC back in the day?
That was past my time. Yeah.
Who's the baby? Remember?
Yeah, no. I'll tell you who the baby is because we're gonna skip right to it. Actually, any one of those stories we talked about could probably have been the Ellie. We're actually gonna skip what I thought was gonna be the Ellie because we have to say happy birthday to the official. Well, I guess there's the official pet name of the show. We're a huge fan of Fiona the hippo here.
Hold on. But we're not. Before we get to that, I feel compelled. You never saw this show?
I know what you're talking about, but it was something I was probably like. Yeah,
this is entirely possible that dinosaurs lived like this. We don't know. Yeah, not the mom.
We're gonna get banned. This episode's gonna get banned in Canada again.
In Canada or in
Saskatchewan. We won't be seen in Quebec, Regina.
Yep. We have no idea.
I remember this. Yeah, I wasn't a fan. This was like. Understand. Like I've already seen this show in my lifetime. I've already seen this show in reruns as the Honeymooners, and then like in cartoon form as the Flintstones and the Jetsons. So
correct.
At this point,
yes, this is a cheap ripoff of all of those things, no question.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I think I was probably already into like I was probably into my teens when that came out, so I was already reading comic books and like realizing it, like, oh my god, like GI Joes were actually killing people, and like Batman's like not like a dude in like tights with a very questionable relationship with a younger man, and Cesar Romero wasn't the Joker with a mustache. We're not gonna play the video because I guess it's like 3.5 minutes, and ideally, I mean, we can actually let's maybe the first couple of minutes because today or yesterday actually was the birthday of our favorite show mascot, Fiona the hippo. The hippo that was famously born 6 weeks premature at the Cincinnati Zoo. I believe she was 29 pounds when she was born. The typical hippo when born is 55 to 100 pounds. Oh, it's not playing.
I screwed something up here.
It's okay. What this has never been done before, and they had to literally write a playbook on how to kind of nurse a preemie hippo back to health, and it's just the cutest little thing. And even
she is our unofficial mascot.
Official mascot.
Mm-hmm. Look at her. Look at her. She's so tubby and cute.
She's got the famous ear wiggle. She loves people, even though hippos are one of the most dangerous animals to roam
right.
the planet.
You think she loves you, but really she's trying to eat you. Yeah. If she could get
they're
through
not,
that class,
they're not even. They're herbivores. They're not.
You're right. They wouldn't eat you. They would just kill you.
They just want to fuck you up.
Yeah, they just want you to get away from them. That's what they really want. They just want you to get the fuck away from them.
Us.
Yeah,
they are nature.
Yeah. No big deal. It's just a fucking sea cow. Giant fucking sea cows.
Well, just notice that she was 100 pounds on her second birthday, which meant like she finally hit like some sort of healthy weight. Oh, but holy smokes, does this babe get big? Yikes!
Look at that.
And if we keep watching the video, like, look at this. She knows. She gets what's going on here, right? There she is, play fight. Well, this is hilarious. This is super cute. And a reminder that like
look at me. I'm riding my brother's back. Or is it a brother or sister, right? It's the sister.
That could have been a mom too.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It was because she's the only sibling. She was the only sibling. It was that would have been BB, her mom.
Gotcha. Look at that. She's fucking huge now.
Oh yeah. Like again, we live in some weird, crazy paradise that creatures like this exist, and we could sit there and like nurse one into good health, and it's clearly now. All right, oh, here we go. We got to hang on because she's not only on the biggest, but now we get a special guest appearance by Fritz.
Oh, that's right.
Just to show you the size comparison, Fritz was a healthy born baby hippo.
That's him right there.
Nope.
No, not
That's
yet.
still Fiona. She's still a little small, and she might always kind of be a little small, just because she was preemie. And I don't know. I'm speaking like a zoologist, like I know what I'm fucking talking about.
You know like you know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes.
That's
to
what we do here at Top of the Guy. There's Fritz. That's Fiona and Fritz doing. She's doing the same damn things, right? Like it's just like he's like, I'm gonna bite you, and she's like,
look at me.
like my skin is like 2 inches thick, dude. You got nothing.
Yeah, look at me. I'm gonna fight you, and she's like, "No, you're not. I'm huge."
But that's exactly what she was doing with her mom. Like, and that's how they learn how to. That's how you play to fight. The dogs do the same thing. Like playing is practice fighting for them.
Look at that. When you look at the face of a hippo, like it's you can't help but be like, "Aw." Like it's an automatic reaction. You're just like, "Oh, look at that face."
And
then it's
with
coming at you,
nostalgia,
then it
yes.
opens its mouth and it just goes boom and
snaps
it kills
your
you.
femurs and then drags you out to the plains where the leopards are going to come and get you. And it knows what it's doing.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we teased at the open of the show a major announcement. And we don't exactly tease here. We always deliver. All right, folks. We don't miss that E spot I keep hearing about. The G spot. We don't miss that ever. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a long time in the making, and not just because this particular situation and world event was delayed by a global pandemic. No. This has been in the works for a long time in the super creative, devious, and always entertaining mind of friend of the show, personal friend of both Ben and I, one Mr. Billy Whack. So, ladies and gentlemen, a major announcement.
Indeed,
I think I've delayed as long as I can.
Yes. Thank you, God, for vamping, because it I needed every second of it. But here we go. Oh no, hold on.
Call with a big announcement about Night of the Super Wrestlers. Night of the Super Wrestlers is going to be here, right here, live, Sunday, April 23rd, once again at the Concord Music Hall. Make sure you stay tuned to this YouTube channel. You're going to find out more and more about what the Super Wrestlers are. It's a strange new universe of pro wrestling coming to you. And tickets go on sale right now.
Woo! Go get them.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm letting you know right now that I'm going to be at Night of the Super Wrestlers.
Oh,
April
hell yeah.
23rd. I will be there. I encourage everybody to look.
Who's the character we were trying to pitch to Billy Whack that we came up with?
Oh, I wrote it down. I have to go through.
Doctor something. He was a doctor from New Jersey. Bada Bing, Dr. Bada Bing, or something like that.
Yeah, there's probably too many doctors.
God
like
damn it, I can't remember.
Yeah, but Night of the Super Wrestlers, April 23rd, the Concord Music Hall. Folks, look, we've supported causes in the past, whether it is a charitable cause with Cajun Navy or World Central Kitchen, to our good friend and friend of the show. They call me Biz, his clothing line, Get Shiesty. But we want to support this endeavor. And folks, I've been privy to some of the stuff, although I'm going to be honest with you, I have no idea, honestly, what the hell this is all about. And I'm not, this is not, I'm not
Billy Whack. That's all you got.
I'm not kayfabing you. I'm not kayfabing anybody. Like, I know the characters and I have some loose idea, because this has been something that has been a life's passion for my dear friend for a long time. And he's finally getting to kind of materialize it. So again, I want to make sure, like, to our audience.
Here's what I'll know about it. I know this, but it's going to be outside the box. It is not going to be a traditional wrestling show. It is going to be a lot of fun.
Or cod piece. But the cod piece should be the cod dinner at the night of the wrestlers. It should just be called the cod piece, and you should have a cod dinner served. I don't know who can make that happen, but somebody should make that happen.
Sponsored by Long John Silver's.
Of course, why not? That's just Ben. That's an idea. That's almost like a strike of lightning. Ladies and gentlemen, we have finally gotten to the number one segment of the podcast that my father enjoys. Dad Evan Brooks loves himself some lightning rounds. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen. If you've never participated in a lightning round, let me briefly explain what happens here. We read 3 headlines. One gets chosen. They all enter the Thunderdome, and it's the Thunderdome that makes the decision, folks. So the votes matter, as you know. We don't settle around for any dilly-dally, especially while we're running so late. So, folks, here we go.
Up against the clock.
Up against the clock. Here we go. We got to do this. Headline number 1. Topless woman vandalizes downtown Fargo church.
That's good. Right out of the box. That's pretty good.
Woman sues concert venue after getting so drunk at a show that she blew up $10 million worth of homes.
Whoa.
And headline number 3. Fish play Pokemon and accidentally commit credit card fraud.
Hold on.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
and fish or like fish?
FISH, actual
Gotcha.
like, critters,
Okay.
the actual animals.
All right, that's even more bizarre. It would have been pretty bizarre if it was the band
Hey
fish.
man, Train Station just came over and just used my credit card to buy a bunch of weird shit on eBay.
Pokemon Go.
Yeah. He got all these coins and it's going on. I don't understand what this Pokemon thing is, but I've got a $200 charge on my account, and the members of Fish are in my living room. No, so folks, as you are giving really serious consideration to these stories and headlines, let's go over them just one more time, shall we? Headline number 1. Topless woman vandalizes downtown Fargo church. Headline number 2. Woman sues concert venue after getting so drunk at a show that she blew up $10 million worth of homes. And headline number 3, fish play Pokemon and accidentally commit credit card fraud.
And from the mind of our co-writer, Ryan Hansen, we have Free the Nipple. Free the Nipple goes aggro. Ms. Chaos and Fish Jacked. The votes are rolling in. Billy Wack is going with number 2. Adrian is going with number 2. They Call Me Biz going with number 2. Ma Jordan going number 2. Aunt Chris going with number 3. Fish Pokemon. Number 2 seems to be running away with this now. Gigi's going with number 2. Ryan Hansen's going with number 2. I think we have a clear winner at this point. We can call it, since we're already up against the clock as it is, I think we can call this one. And go with number 2.
We should, and unfortunately, because we're so against the clock, this would actually.
Sorry,
be one
Dad, Evan Brooks. We apologize.
Yeah, no, 3's a solid one too. It's a solid pick. Of course, this is a democracy, and everything is chosen by you, the people. So you have spoken. And a woman sues a concert venue after getting so drunk at a show that she blew up $10 million worth of homes. These days. Oh, and by the way, this is from oh boy, here we go. Let me send this to Ben. So
there's got to be a mug shot of this lady, right?
Ooh, there's a picture, that's for sure. We don't vet the lightning round stories as well as we vet other stories. So bear with me as we go off a story from whiskeyriff.com. Hello. These days, you can see pretty much anybody you can sue pretty much anybody for pretty much anything. Remember the guy who sued his parents for throwing his $29,000 porn collection out and won? Or back in 2021, when a Texas man sued a bar for getting him so drunk that he got into a fight and got his ass kicked. In fact, lawsuits against bars by people who get
We heard
drunk
something that
aren't
sounded off.
entirely uncommon. But this one might be the most costly. A Canadian woman is suing Ovations Ontario Food Services, the food and beverage service provider for Budweiser Gardens Arena in London, Ontario. Hello. After she attended a Marilyn Manson concert and apparently got so fucked up that she crashed her car into a house, breaking a gas line that triggered an explosion and caused between $10 to $15 million in damage to 4 separate homes. The 24-year-old Daniela Lease pleaded guilty to 4 counts of impaired driving and was sentenced to 3 years in prison back in 2021. But now she's pointing a finger for the damage at the bartenders. According to the complaint, the woman and her father are seeking a ruling in the court that Ovations Ontario is responsible for any awards against her, including any judgment in 6 lawsuits that have currently been filed by the owners of the damaged homes. And the lawsuit, Lease claims that any damages caused by her wreck were, quote, caused or contributed to by the negligence, breach of duty, breach of contract of the food service provider at the concert venue, and that the Ovation staff were not properly trained, resulting in serving her alcohol when they knew she was intoxicated.
Good luck
Now,
to you, lady.
I think we've all been to concerts. We've all been
I've been pretty fucked up at some concerts. Yeah.
as well, and well overserved, and doing your best to hold your shit together, walking up in that line, just trying to hold to like not sway too much and keep your leg straight ahead. But you need that one last beer because, fucking whoever is going to be wrapping up soon. Yes, but to actually blame, to first of all, not understanding.
There's a hell of an
Whatever.
explosion. I don't know if you saw the video while you were reading, but there's video of the explosion that was pretty fucking impressive.
When you damage 4 different homes, and apparently those homes are not cheap.
No.
Maybe, I don't know. Call a cab. I don't know. But hey, a long one, but still not too long. I thought we did a good job.
No, we got it in the time frame that we try to keep within.
We had a couple of new visitors to the Thunderdome, so welcome, Lisa. And we had the cast of usuals. Of course, we are so grateful for it. Thank you so much as you join us on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, wherever else this is going. Hopefully, illegally somewhere cool like North Korea. That'd be great if we were in North Korea.
Could you imagine if we're huge in North Korea and we don't know
That'd be
it?
so wicked that Kim Jong-un loves us for some weird reason. Anyway, pipe dreams, those wet dreams. Anyway, thanks for joining us. We do this every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. So thanks for joining us again from the USS Rapapa. I'm Brooks. That's Ben. This has been Topic Thunder. Ben, quick update for the
Wrestling shows are kind of on hiatus. We're working on a project. It's going to be really cool. Stay tuned.
Lots of cool things.